So Justice Sonia Sotomayor totally played the conservative justices and issued a layup to Judge Brian Murphy. He was the judge in that case where the conservative justices let the Trump administration continue its plan to deport migrants to other countries that aren't their countries of origin. Why y'all doing that? And so she laid out, she said something in her dissenting opinion, and the judge was like, oh, girl, we're going to do this. You know what I'm talking about? So that case, plus some anti-DEI slam dunks against the Trump administration, and also the courts are pulling back the Trump administration's latest scam to try to quickly remove black and brown people from this country. And so every time they try to do something, the courts come back with no, you're not. Yeah, so let's get into that. So if you're new here, my name is JJ Legal. So on this account, I am helping you to see the various different wins that the people have against the horrible Trump administration and give you a sense of calm. The other day, someone said, oh, we finally got some wins. They were talking about a recent video. So I'm like, you're new here. Take a look around. That's what I do every single week. So today there are about 6 immigration-related wins for the people and 3 wins for the anti-DEI against Donald Trump's attempt to punish schools, punish people, punish children, punish just the government for helping out people of color and marginalized people because it's a racist, sexist, xenophobic, do nothing, unqualified ban of goons administration that's making the United States look terrible, but not for long, not for long. So we got some wins. So let's go through the immigration wins first, shall we? So for the 3rd time, the conservatives on the Supreme Court said they're going to pause a lower court's ruling where the lower courts looked at what the Trump administration doing was like, y'all are bugging. I'm going to stop y'all from doing that nationwide. And the Supreme Court said, you know what? We're going to let them continue to do this, even though the case is still going on. Because normally, if there's people going to be harmed from a decision, like the executive orders, then normally you say, well, we don't want people to be harmed while they're litigating this, Let's pause it. And that's what the Georgians said. We're going to pause it. They looked at the case. They looked at the facts. They looked at the harm. The Supreme Court was like, no, we're not going to pause it. We're going to let it continue. Petty. Anyway, really disappointed. So they did it again. And as usual, the liberal branches, the more central liberal leaning, Elena Kagan, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, and Justice Sonia Sotomayor will issue a scathing dissent where they say you're eroding the esteem of the court. You're granting him emergency orders for no darn reason. He just needs to abide and then appeal the normal way. And y'all are damaging people. And that's what Sonia Sotomayor said. And you're also damaging for an organization, the Trump organization, because the government is really just MAGA right now, that have shown unclean hands. They deported Guatemalan guy who was gay, who got defiled because they deported him to Mexico. They deported 3 people to Libya, and the Libyan government had been like, nah, we said we will take them, but we have a fight right now. We can't do it right now. And then they almost deported people to South Sudan, and they're ready to send them south to Sudan. And so they're ready to do it. However, Justice Sotomayor said in her dissent opinion, the main part of this Judge Murphy's order is not really brought in front of us properly. And then the judge was like, yeah, it wasn't. So that case continues. So my order stands. You still can't deport people. The Trump administration is livid. The reason why they're livid, the reason why they did that is that you follow my account. One of the things I tell you is they make mistakes. They're hemorrhaging lawyers because people are lefting. People are demoralized. Every single case, there's a lawyer leaving. And it's just, it's a mess. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. The Department of Justice say things in the court dockets all the time, and then the Trump administration, Marco Rubio, Elon Musk, Pam Bondi, Christine Noem, Tom Nolan are popping off on social media and Fox News and saying stuff, undermining their case at the Department of Justice. And the plaintiffs are just screenshotting. If you look at you see what I see, they're just screenshotting and copying and going to court. See what they're saying? Remember, the lawyer said this, but look what they say in the social media, judge. And the judge was like, yes, That's what's going on. That's why they keep getting overruled. They violate all the Constitution. They don't violate the Congress rules and process and procedures, and then they're yapping off and popping off, and they're just a freaking hot mess. And that's why they're losing. They're not losing because they're activist judges. They're losing because Trump administrations end up banning goons, and they don't they don't know how to like govern. That's why they're losing. Anyway, so I digress. That's enough of that case. So, yeah, they're mad. They're just so mad they try to sue all of the district court judges in Maryland. Which is a joke. That's going to get tossed out. It's a frivolous lawsuit. Donald Trump, he's filed in his lifetime probably 5,052 frivolous lawsuits that most of them just get tossed out. And Van Bondi is such a sycophant, powerless, just puppet, and she was like, okay, you think Jeff Sessions is going to be, which is Donald Trump's attorney general, his first term, you think Jeff Sessions is doing all this nonsense bullshit that Pam Bondi is doing? Anyway, so that's that. So that's the first immigration case. The second one, you've seen how they've been going to the immigration courts and yanking people up and then sending them to jail. And then what happened is they would dismiss the case because under the traditional process, immigration is a civil process. It's not a criminal thing. It's long. There are people who have been subject to removal and they've been still in the country for like 9-10 years, and the government just give them a work permit, let them continue as long as they check in. All these people who are subject to removal have just been checking in. They're going through the process. The Trump administration decided, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to dismiss the case, and then we're going to go and then yank them up and then try to deport them quickly under this new provision, this new obscure provision. That's what they've been trying to do. And so the judges are like, they caught on to that. They're like, that's abuse of process. And one time they tried to do in this one case, I'm gonna put it here, they asked the immigration court, can we dismiss this case? Because they're trying to do that process. And the immigration judge was like, nah, no, we're going to continue this case in 2026. You're free to go. The person leaves the courtroom. The Trump administration tackled them and then try to deport them. And then that case made it up to Judge Murphy again. And Judge Murphy was like, they're already under subject to removal. What's the point of you bringing a new removal because y'all just playing games? Get out of here. Let that lady free. I think it's a woman. And there's lots of cases like that. They're trying to detain them. And then the judge would say, when they were set free the first time and not as a flight risk and they were given a work permit, the immigration judge back then determined to not subject to detainment. So how can you now, all of a sudden, while they're coming to do their regular process, do the regular check-in, not grab them and then try to detain them? Does that even make sense? It doesn't make sense. You're just abusing process. You're just trying to like quickly get the brown and black people out the country. That's all it is. Because remember that he's trying to actively deport in whites. He's telling these South Africans, because Elon told him that you guys are subject to genocide. Y'all can come into the country. All of you guys, 57 people after the call. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is canceled the temporary protective status of people in countries that are actually experiencing genocide in Cameroon and South Sudan, Afghanistan, because they're brown and they're just Stephen Miller's self-loathing Schmittler, but just wants to de-brownify the United States. That's not going to happen. You could try all you want to, Schmiller, Pee Wee German. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's just an exercise of futility. Y'all just look silly. And when the pendulum swings, I'll be Pee Wee German ass out of the country. Anyway. So that's the judges. The judges have been like, so look at those cases. So if you don't have a lawyer, you should get one. If you don't, the judges, especially in the blue states, got your back, and they like get them out of jail. They just detaining people. They're just abusing. Oh my God, it's terrible. So that's the second of the immigration type cases. The third one, you know that Mahmoud Khalil is free. Mahmoud Khalil, for some reason, Marco Rubio decided to make this guy his test case, and he says, we must detain him, we must deport him because it's a violation of our policy. To which the judges were like, no, it's not. It's because he used his First Amendment right to free speech, which you have if you are a visitor, if you are a student, if you are a temporary resident, permanent resident. United States Constitution protects everyone once they're on the soil. And the judge was like, that's all that is. And the second reason they try to detain him and say, we must keep him because he didn't fill out this form right. He's put the wrong employers. And the judge was like, y'all don't detain people because they fill out their form wrong when they were applying for, to come to this country or applying for the green card. You gotta let him go. And they let him go. He's since then finally saw his, he missed his graduation, he missed the birth of his child, but he's out and he's an advocate and he's doing things, and he's like, so he wrote an op-ed the other day and he continues on being an advocate. So that's the third set of immigration wins. What else we have? Then we have the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I've been covering this one for a long time on this account and on social media. Even though Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, Donald Trump had said he's never coming back to the United States, the Supreme Court said, you got to facilitate that man's return. They had been hemming and hawing since April 2025 in the Maryland District Court in front of Judge Zenas, just making up all sorts of nonsense. Finally, they found a rouge. It's fake. They found a bunch of criminals who wanted to get out of jail and agreed to just give a bunch of double hearsay testimonies. Yeah, he did it. Kilmar did it. The magistrate judge in Tennessee, so he came back. They held him in a jail in Tennessee under this rouge that he's part of some human trafficking. They lied. And the magistrate judge, when Kilmar came for bond, was like, yeah, okay, yeah, you can get out. Because one, you don't have any basis for keeping this guy. And let me tell you, let me read specifically what she said. She said, given the volume of resources committed to the government's investigation of Abrego since April 2025, the court supposes that if timely, more specific concrete evidence exists of Abrego's alleged MS-13 gang membership or consistent of a pattern of an intentional conduct designed to threaten or intimidate, the government would have offered that evidence. Like, they've held us time to prove their case. And he says all they have is that he's a member of a gang, is double hearsay and layers of stuff, and then he's not going to flee. And then the people who your witnesses are just a bunch of criminals. Like, girl, you can go Kilmar. And then they appealed, and the next level court that said the same thing. It says the next level said, yeah, I didn't really prove the case, and he can leave. Kilmar Abrego's lawyer said, okay, we want to just make sure that they don't take us back, as the government said that if he gets out of jail, we're going to detain him based on some other bullshit. So she's like, if I can leave pending this case here, can you tell them not to try to detain me again? They're just using him as a pawn. It's so stupid. And they just don't want to take that L because they already said he's not coming back. And when he's coming back, we're going to deport him to another country. And that's what they said, Department of Justice said. It's such a joke. It's just really, they really damaged the reputation of the Department of Justice of the United States. They lost a bunch of career. The whole federal government lost a lot of really good lawyers. They took out the early retirement, and they damaged us for good because that institutional memory and all of those different people, the really good lawyers, the really good career and civilian federal workers that in so many departments left, and they're never coming back. I don't think they're going to come back, especially not while we have these this inept clown show that's running things. Anyway, so that's a win. And then another judge said that the Trump administration needs to return. There's a kid named, he's 20 years old now, I think, Jordin-Salmeron. And he was part of a certified class action lawsuit for kids who came to the United States before age 2019. Part of their class says they cannot be deported. They deported the guy. The Trump administration admitted it was a mistake. Like, they went on record, admitted he wasn't supposed to be removed. And the Court of Appeal says, they said that. It says a confluence of administrative errors. That's what the government said. So y'all said it was a mistake. So if it was a mistake, bring it back. Again, so that's what the Department of Justice argued. Meanwhile, what was his name? McLaughlin, Kristi Noem's fellow extensions wearing Deputy Homeland Security Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, that's her name, was like, no, Jordan's a criminal. He's not coming back. And that's not what your Department of Justice arguing. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. So they ordered him to be returned. So he's going to be the fourth person that they're going to return for CCAR. After they're saying, we can't return anybody, because I think he didn't go to CCAR. He went to another prison in Guatemala. So, okay, that's another win for the immigration wins. The final one is there was a terror suspect who terrorized in Boulder, Colorado, and the Trump administration did this little petty-ass tweet. The White House put the petty tweet saying, we're going to deport the wife and kids. What the wife and kids do would have to do anything. If all of us got in trouble or deported or thrown in jail or harmed or punished by the government because of the actions of a relative, we all would be like hemmed up. So several judges said that those folks, the wife and kids, those 5 kids who were here on the H-1B visa, like when you come in on the H-1B tech visa, you can bring your wife and kids. They had since filed an asylum application. They're in the process of filing an asylum application. Trump administration, we're going to kick you out of the country. Why? For what? What did they do? just to be cruel. You're going to kick some children out, just be cruel. Just the same way they like try to kick out kids with cancer and tackling teenagers and taking away people's moms and breastfeeding mothers from their babies. It's just cruel. And these so-called Christians, as Christian nationalists, it really is like when I look at The Handmaid's Tale and I look how cruel those Christians are to people. It's just like bastardizing Christianity in the name of faith. You got this weird ass, crazy ass administration. Anyway, so that's a win. So that's the last of the immigration wins. Then they have these anti-DEI. In the previous video, I mentioned that Judge William Young, 84 years old, Reagan employee, a district court judge in Massachusetts, said in all of his 40-something years of being a judge, he had never seen the administration make policy as a racism. And he says anti-DI and anti-woke is nothing but cloaked racism. And so all of the grants that they denied because of anti-DI is really racism. You can't deny grants because you're racist. So that was a win. And then owing to that separately, University of California system also sued because they lost a bunch of grants because of anti-DI. And the judge says that's a violation of the First Amendment and, so many different laws, so much of the Constitution. Like, what? Give the people back the grant. And then finally, Job Corps. They try to take away Job Corps. And the judge was like, there's a bunch of like vulnerable kids who've been abused, who've been part of the system, and they rely on Job Corps to get them jobs. And you're going to just end it because it benefits people of color and black people and marginalized community. And the government hate us so much. Trump and all his goons, you guys hate us. It's just hate. You hate us, and that's why you want to take away funds that help any person who's a person of color. You're supposed to be president of the country, but you only want to be president of white MAGA, and that's why black and brown MAGA, Hispanic MAGA, Asian MAGA, all you guys who are not white, cisgender, have no business being part of the MAGA clan because they do not care about you. They want your votes. They don't care about you. When Donald Trump says, there's my African-American, Byron Donalds, when he says you're one of the good ones, how do you feel when he says one of the good ones? That means that he's saying the bad ones include all your father, your mother, everybody. You're a non-respecting, sketching and fetcher. Byron Donalds. In Texas, I think that's where he's from. Anyway, him and Uncle Thomas, Justice Thomas. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, so that's it. That's what I have for you. For now, I think there'll be other wins, but yay. So this is where you come to get the wins of the anti-Trump administration cases. I do this every week. Well, I missed it a couple of weeks, so I can't even say I do it every week. I try to do it every week, but I haven't. What I have coming for you is I have a collab. I'm doing a collab with my good friend who I just met on social media, Amanda from Amanda Mile Takes, who's an historian. She's lives in a state next to me, and she's on vacation right now, but we're going to do a collab and do our, you'll see what it is, stay tuned. And yeah, so that's good, something good stuff coming. And what else? Yeah, so then stay tuned. I have a few other thoughts and stuff. So if you want to, I have a Know Your Rights card that I sell for $1. I'm going to update that with 3 more cards. So if you already purchased it, you'll get the updates for free. If you haven't, it's just $1. I have a case tracker that I'm going to update soon as well. But if you want to get it now so you can keep up with these cases, I have links to where it is. It's like a companion document. I only charge $7.99 for that. You get that. I also have templates. So I created legal templates for my family and friends, and of all the documents you would need if you're part of a mixed status. So I sell that as well for $97. It's cheaper than paying $5,000 to $10,000 to a lawyer to represent you in retainer. So if you want to get that, you can do that also. And you can join my private communities where I try to give a little bit more insight into what I'm thinking on. I have them on TikTok. I have it on Patreon, YouTube, and Substack. So you can subscribe for the paid version to get the little inside scoops. So that's how you can support my work here. Otherwise, I'm open to partnering and collabing as well. You can hit me up at inquiry@clustercreatives.com. And otherwise, yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put a link here to the other Trump L's for the week for a playlist. If you're watching this on TikTok, look for the L's for the week playlist. And if you're watching this on Instagram, there's also a playlist here. If you're watching this on any other platform, go to one of those places so you get the playlist to see the past wins to think that we're winning. And that's why, so you can know it's not just, this isn't a fluke. We're winning a lot. 90% of the time we're winning. It's just, anyway. JJ Legal, each one teach one.